Hello again, everybody. Welcome back in. In this video, we're going to be talking about hitting chamber number 3 here in the Tower of Deception. This will be the floor that you unlock, the side chamber you're gonna unlock after you beat stage 14. All right, so in order for you to maximize the rewards, as you can see down here, you're gonna meet 4 conditions here, right? So the first one is going to be that it's going to take your roster down to by 4. So you're just going to be able to deploy 6 heroes. And this is where the challenge comes in, to try to deal with those heavy waves that are coming from the top left of the map, alongside with the very strong scale skins that are coming from the right side, because they are not only being helped by the boss, but they're also being helped by the shaman in terms of healing. The second condition that you see here is essentially all enemy units are going to have their max HP increase and their magic damage reduction decrease by 70%. And the damage taken by 15%. So this makes them really, really solid units. And it was really, that's where the challenge with epics ran into a little bit of a difficulty. And when you restrict it to 6, that's when things really, really get hairy. So you'll see the roster that I used was very specialized to deal with the waves that they were coming out. All right. Then the last one here, if you decide to beat the stage without clicking this condition, you're going to be able to melt the boss as soon as it comes out, especially if you're able to place a Silas down, for example. But if you do want to maximize the rewards and you click on this, she is going to gain invincibility for 200 seconds. So you're not going to be able to target her. So combined with this, it makes it a little bit of a challenge, but one that is easily gettable, depending on the roster that you have. So let me take you to the map here. In terms of the recommended lineup that they suggest here, I would say that Artemis is just the anti-heal and Tallulah is for the dispel, right? So that's one unit that I decided to use just because they recommend it, right? If you have Elo1 or if you're going to use my Dan, even though she has that limited range, you can definitely do that. But Tallulah is very good for this because she has a wider range. Silas is recommended because he can melt things, and that's exactly what I used him for as well, just to help out with the waves. Make sure that these fellas here did not get too far off from the path, and we were able to bring them down quick before they were healed. So we have the same cast that we pretty much saw through stages 11 and 14 with Scalekins, and here we have the Shaman. And of course, these guys restore HP. So these, not only do they deal a little bit of damage, but they make things complicated by healing everybody around them. And then, of course, we have the Smashers, the Temple Guards, and Elwyn. And this is the, she just throws her heals around and starts healing everybody. So we have to make sure that we are able to eliminate enemies before they are healed. Otherwise, just going to overwhelm any tank or any fighter that you bring in to the field. So that's essentially how things play out here. So you see the spawn points here. Primarily down here is where all the scale skins come out. So we're going to have to try to make sure that we melt them before they get through our defender fighter combination or fighter combinations to block from the core here. On this core here, or this spawn point here, we're going to see the shamans, and then the boss also exits out here because she will trek here. She will trek, come down, and try to get to the core. The other thing I should say is if you don't click that invincibility, you're gonna be able to do some damage to her starting out from where she exits. For this video is with that condition, so we clicked on all 3 to try to 4-star this thing. Then we have the spawn, or this is where the waves come in. This is where we have to get rid of them, especially with these shamans coming out here to heal. So we are going to you're gonna see all that heavy waves come down here, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to either block it here or block it here. And in this spawn point down here, we have flyers coming out. And that also is something that we have to contend with. So we need to bring units that can hit air with these Batwings Banshees, because they'll try to go to the left of the map and then curve and then come back in. So the idea here is to possibly do marksmans on either one of these sides just to cover it, but at the same time they have to help you in terms of dealing with the scale skins in the shamans. All right, so for this run here, I'm going to show you the one that I did to try to collect all 4 of the gems or the stars, whatever you want to call them, to make sure that we optimize the reward. So here, let me introduce the roster that I decided to use for this. All right, so yes, it is legendary heavy. Like I said, it does provide a little bit of a challenge. This is the way that I decipher to beat the stage, and of course, you can adapt to your rosters. And then if you want to bring some epics, you can definitely do that. So first, I brought in Elder. So Elder is one of those heroes that I like to use, especially if I need a fighter to be on the front and also provide some damage. And because of his shield, he can also protect himself and try to really tank things at all possible. And I'm also bringing Arrogance here. Arrogance, he is hitting air. He's a fighter that hits air. That helped a lot, especially in the position that I placed him in. And here, I decided to bring Abomination. I would imagine that some people do have Abomination, and you can see that you can use them in this regard to try to plug the lanes here. Of course, Hats, it's just her purpose to wipe things out, especially the heavy waves, because I don't want them piling up. If you let them pile up, that's where the extra healing comes in, and it just gets complicated. And then Silas here, he's going to help me kind of clean things up, is essentially what I'm using him for. And Tallulah is going to be the healer, the dispeller. Make sure that those poisons do not stack up on us. And so you're going to see in the run that the Silas here, that I'm particularly using him to help with the waves more than to try to bring down the boss, especially because we have this 200-second window before we even have the opportunity to do any damage to Elwyn in this stage. And as you can see here, the BP, they recommend 800,000, but I managed to do it with the 567 here. Let me quickly just show you the builds as to at least here in the test server, how I was able to gear Elder. So I managed to get him in Immortal and this Glacier set, so heavy HP. There is some crit rate and some crit damage, and I also gave him the Luna's Advisor just to make sure that I got that extra block. But I really did try to push his HP to 100,000. That was the key here, and some speed, just to at least do a little bit of damage. Hatsuit, here in Infernal Roar, and around 300 critical damage, mostly attack on the pieces, and some speed as well. And I gave her the chalice just to make sure that she was able to heal herself in case she got hit by the shamans. Silas, of course, is the standard build with Infernal Roar. Make sure that I cranked up his critical damage where possible, and we have the Idol Penitence on him. Arrogant, same thing. He's exclusive artifact for this example here. And I do have him in the Cataclysm set with Warlord. So that's the kind of the build that I went for him here. As you can see, the critical damage is a little bit low, but most of the damage was done by the burn, and I did cranked up his attack. And of course, for this, there you go, we used his exclusive to try to get that Hellfire to come in a little bit early and get his rage boosted a little bit. So that's that one right there. Abomination. For this, I give him the Luna's Advisor just so he can get a little bit of extra healing when he's dealing damage. And we did build him as DPS. So it's kind of similar stats to what I've seen, what I did with the other DPS units. You can see his attack is in the 24,000 range, and critical damage is 300 in that range. And last is Tallulah. So Tallulah here, I was able to put her in this Invigoration set. And I gave her Tia's Balm just to provide some extra healing with for this run. All right. So here is the completed a successful run. I'm going to let the clip run through. And for this one, I am going to go ahead and narrate it a little bit because I do want to explain the strategy that I deployed here for this stage. Okay, so one of the things that to look out for here, you're going to have the scale skims coming here from the bottom. So we're going to have somebody deal with it, especially in this case, it's going to be a unit that has a very long range, especially with this fighter, and can deal physical damage and melt them down. All right. And I really don't want him piling up with the shaman. It's just too much healing. I don't want to contend with all of that. Okay, so let me pause it here because two things are going to happen. One, a banshee is going to come out from the bottom here and it's going to take a turn up to the north and then go west. All right, so I didn't want to waste a marksman spot here to try to deal with this banshees or a marksman spot here. All right. The worry here is all these units coming down from the top. All right, so you can see is multiple of them. Not only have they come here from the front, but they're coming here from the spawn point here too. So the one thing that I would advise you is if you have a unit that can just eliminate this as soon as possible, use it. Because if this shaman comes in and starts striking with them, they're going to be healing over time. So you're going to need a lot of firepower here. All right. So if you want to try to do things with an Ardea or a Lubu or something like that, you can. Somebody that's units that can do AoE damage. But in this, I just decided I'm going to try to wipe them out here at the top. And Hatsut is going to be the primary unit to help me do that. So let me continue on. So as you can see here, we're melting the shaman on the bottom. And we're going to try to melt the Banshee, which Arrogance did. And any units that escaped Hatsut, that's what I brought in the Abomination for, just to provide a little bit of a CC and just get rid of them. And you can also kind of use him as a little bit of a tank, right? He has that invulnerability, so he might get a second chance. All right, so for this, let's just pull Abomination back. We'll use him on another instance. And as you can see here, now we have Silas. So now Silence is going to be my prep to try to help Hatsut with these monsters here that have a lot of HP. They're very resistant to magic damage. So I needed the extra firepower to make sure that I brought all of this down. So at the same time, I'm going to use Hatsut's ultimate to clean all of this. So as you can see, she wasn't strong enough to bring these down, which can really, really be a headache if we don't do that. So Silas is going to be the one that cleans things out for me. And again, I'm going to bring in Abomination to try to help things along. So you see there's the invulnerability. And now I can have Silas's Abomination just finish this off. All right, so we locked out here because we were able to get rid of the shaman. And as you can see here as well, we were able to get rid of this wave before Eloin healed whole thing. So if you allow them to track through, okay, and you try to build some type of defense down here, that's what you're going to have to worry about. Not only going to get healed from the boss, you're going to get healed from that shaman. So it's just like let's just try to get rid of as many units as we can here, top left. As you saw here in the bottom, we're just dealing with scale skins. So that's what we have to try to eliminate. And I'm using Elder in case I didn't point him out in the first deployment. Elder is the type of unit that I like to use to tank things if at all possible, especially when we're dealing with this type of units. And the shield provides him a little bit of survivability. So why not? That's the type of unit that I needed for this. And then enough damage done. There we go. Now, all right, so we're almost there. We're about halfway through. So we're going to deal with one more wave here. We see the boss is already moving. She's still in her invisibility mode. So we can't do anything to her yet. So I'm not worried about her yet. Okay, so here's another round. Banshee's coming out. We have all these scale skins here. We have a shaman to deal with here. Again, we have limited time to get rid of all of this. Otherwise, the boss is going to heal everybody. So here Elowen is trying to do her best in terms of eliminating as much as she can. And she's also healing as well. So that's another benefit in case she gets hit. And then here in the bottom now, I just have to worry about all these scale skins. So Arrogance and Elder are going to go do enough of a good job. And here again, I'm bringing back Abomination to try to help out with these scale skins. So here we go. Again, if you have a more powerful unit here that can wipe this out really quick, use it. All right. I was trying to avoid Kigiri and Sunwon Kong. That's essentially what I'm trying to do here at these early stages. Okay, so Abomination is out, which is fine. He did enough damage, and he healed. That's the unfortunate part about this thing. So, but it's fine. We got it covered. So I am going to bring in Silas now, and I'm going to face him heading west, just so he can clear this scale skin. And Abomination and Elder are they're doing fine in terms of holding this up. So now Elowen is starting to take damage, and she's taking damage from these two units down here. All right, so Silas did what I needed him to do. So we're gonna retract him. But at this point, it's all about Arrogance and Elder just trying to bring Elowen down. So as you can see, that's what's happening there. So chop down the boss. And just bring extra units just to deal with the boss, right? She's not dealing a whole lot of damage. It's just we just want to make sure that we block her path, and we just have to deal with her healing. That's essentially what's coming down to. Pretty much the damage that we're getting is from the venoms, the poisons being applied to us. So at this stage with the 4-star condition, yeah, she is really, really thick. If you just want to do the first clearance, just get the 1st star. Yeah, she can come down really easily. But there we go. We just chopped her down after we dealt with everything else. And as you can see here, we got the 4-star condition. So that's essentially what it came down to. And that's the roster that I use for this. And I'm betting that you will be able to adjust for whatever roster you might have if you don't have some of these units. But my best advice that I can give you is for this, at the top left, try to figure out a way to clear that out completely as they spawn out. If you can, make sure that if you decide to build some type of fortification down here, you're going to need some type of anti-heal, because not only are you going to get the heal from the shaman, but you're going to get the heal from the boss as well. So that's the difficult part here, is trying to contend with all of this coming out. And if you allow them to get if you allow them to trek towards the core, that's where all that healing comes into play. So prepare yourselves for that if you decide not to eliminate at this point, right at the point of exit, at the spawn point. So that's what I figured out to work best for me. So for this purposes, I use Hatsuit. You can try to see if there's somebody else that can fill that role very well in your roster. All right, that'll do it for this video. Good luck when you encounter this stage, and I hope that this guide helped you in terms of managing to try to get the 4 stars out of it and maximize the rewards. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. I will see you all in the next Watch Our Realms video. And do me a favor, click that subscribe button on your way up.